Cool. Well, let's get this thing started. Really excited to have Verbal and the Ambush team here. The new NFT collection that's coming up, A3. Really excited to talk about it and all things Web3, all things fashion intertwining with the Web3 world. So we're going to get things kicked off here with some quick intros, and then we'll jump into the conversation. So I'm Kyle, head of content and social here at Avalabs. Excited to have our guests here. Verbal, you want to go ahead as our special guest and give a quick intro on yourself?
Yeah, hi guys, this is Verbal. I am a co-founder of the brand Ambush with Yoon. And I am also a musician. Some of you guys might know, but I did a song called Tokyo Drift from Teriyaki Boys, which we performed in LA last month. But anyway, yeah, really happy to be here and super excited to talk about A3.
Awesome, amazing, welcome. Yeah, really excited to have you. Let's jump over to Jason. Jason, you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, what's good, everybody? Verbal, what's up? Dialing in 7 a.m. from Indonesia right now. So super excited to be talking from the East. I'm a co-founder of OP3N. We are a launch pad for IPs and communities. A very close partner with the Avalanche community. We have a Culture Catalyst Initiative Fund that we have been working on and backing this A3 drop with Verbal Ambush. Shout out to Devin here. Shout out to Dominic. Shout out to Ed. Shout out to everybody in the whole Ava Labs team. We're very excited about this. And you know we're a protocol platform to really support creators like Verbal, who really want to own their own IP, be able to be direct with their communities, and for us to provide those tools for them to be able to, go straight to their fans without a middleman. So we're super excited about this drop. This is one of our first with the Culture Catalyst initiative, and we think this is going to be a prime example of, just culture, technology, Web3, and what this all can do and the possibilities.
Awesome. Yeah, really excited about the first initiative here coming out of Culture Catalyst. So definitely going to be a great conversation. Nelson, why don't we kick it over to you if you want to introduce yourself?
For sure. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Nelson. I am the CMO over at Open, and I run the studio Open Friends over here. And I'm just a longtime friend of Verbal. And I'm just really excited because this, to me, is like a great merge of fashion and tech. And the one thing I love about Verbal and the Ambush team is that they're always trying to push the envelope. And the one thing I love about the Open team with Jamon and myself and everybody else is that we love pushing how tech can be incorporated into entertainment, music, fashion, everything. And now with the Culture Catalyst Fund we have with you all, it's just really exciting to start launching projects that have like meaningful value behind them, but also like cultural relevance. And that's what's really exciting about this.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm excited to dive in. So thanks for joining us, Nelson. And why don't we kick it over to our two guests here from the Avalabs team? Devin, you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, happy to do that. I can't compete with your morning voice there, Jamar. It sounds like you had a rough night, mate. Sorry about that. But if I know you, you were out and about and making friends as you usually do.
A lot of
It's great to.
highlights.
It's good to be talking to you guys. I'm Devin Ferreira. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Labs, building Avalanche with all these great people, and I'm just really excited to be here. I've been involved in the inception of this whole program. If I think back to some of the conversations that we were having back in January, February, Jason, trying to think about it. I think at that time we were still calling this thing the Creator Fund, right? And we said, no, that's not what this is. This isn't about just dumping money into something. This is about identifying and nurturing great culture in Web3. And I think we shared that vision, which is I think what's made for a good partnership here. And I'm just excited to be doing something that's this cool with somebody that's as talented as you are, Verbal. So thank you very much for your support for what we're trying to do here. But at the end of the day, it's all about the proliferation of art and culture on the blockchain. I've always been so excited about that. Of course, people get you know get all hyped up about DeFi and the rest, and I like that stuff too. But for me, this is about how do you take down barriers that are preventing people from connecting that otherwise would, and how do you kind of surface latent networks in the creative community? And I think projects like this just get to the heart of that. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Devin. Really appreciate it. And last but not least, Dominic, I'll kick it over to you if you want to introduce yourself and then walk us right into the conversation here.
Yeah, that's great. Great segue too. So I'm Dominic Carbonaro. I head up the NFT arts and culture vertical here at Avalanche. Some of you in the audience may know me. I've been in some spaces and have participated. I see Hoops giving me some love. We're really excited to have Jason, the Open team, Verbal, Ambush, Nelson, just everyone here building this awesome project, providing a very unique piece of jewelry and kind of a first of its kind of merge between blockchain and fashion. And so we're really excited. We're excited for this project that's going to be launching here soon. We're gonna start here with a Q&A with you, Verbal, and really want to know some about your story. So just really, who you are, how you got started in this entire thing, starting with fashion and the start of Ambush. Like, if you could talk to us just about your story and what that process looked like, I think people would love it.
Sure. Thanks, Dominic. So just before I start, I want everyone to know that my creative career consists of music, fashion, and also tech. And my whole creative career started with music when I debuted back in 1999 in Japan with my group M-Flow. And subsequently, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I came out with a record with this group Teriyaki Boys with Nigo. Some of you guys might know the song Tokyo Drift. So we were, doing music, and that kind of, got me into fashion. So, I started my career as a rapper. What does a rapper do with their first royalty check? I went straight to the jewelry shop, and then, but, I wanted to make my own piece. That was always my dream. I always saw Big Daddy Kane, Biz Markie, Rakim, everyone growing up having their own pieces with their own jewelry. So I was like, wow, I want to make my own design. And around that time, Yoon and I were already starting the DNA of what's to become Ambush. We were like a design team. So Yoon was already kind of working in the industry, designing for like record covers and different projects. So we started designing jewelry for fun, and started giving it out to friends. And one thing led to another through Teriyaki Boys. I got to work with people like Kanye and Pharrell. So, I was giving these pieces out to people like them, as well as all the cool kids, all the culture, people who are pushing the culture in Tokyo. And then, and eventually, I started getting calls from wholesale stores saying, "Hey, can we carry these?" And I was like, "Oh, like we didn't really mean for this to become like a fashion brand, but cool. Okay, it's gonna be fun to have these be represented in stores." And then I started getting calls from Colette from Paris, and then Virgil, rest in peace, who started RSVP Gallery in Chicago. So this thing turned from like a fun hobby quickly into a brand, and it all started with the POW ring, which became the design for the Web3. But anyway, with music and also fashion now starting up, I also mentioned about tech, and I've always been enthralled with the different technologies that kind of enhance creativity. And one of the things that I really got into early on was motion capture suits. So back in 2012, I started this company where we use motion capture suits for our stage performances, as well as we were renting it as well. And it started because I saw Skrillex do it on stage, and I thought it was really cool. So I bought 2 motion capture suits, started playing around with it on stage, and I quickly realized that this also forays into virtual reality, and so I started dabbling with doing shows inside VR chat, and with music, fashion, and tech in place, they were all sort of like disconnected, because the music had something to do with fashion, but not directly. Fashion had something to, music had something to do with tech, but it wasn't really necessary for business. It was just like almost like a luxury. But eventually, during COVID, when it became necessary to start doing shows in a virtual space because we couldn't do physical concerts, I got more and more into doing DJ sets and performances with my groups. And that's around the time when, Nelson, with whom I've known for many, many years through music, started teaching me about Web3 and NFTs. He's like, "Yeah, have you heard of NFTs?" And I'm like, "I have, but is it a JPEG?" Like, I didn't know anything about this world. And blockchain, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, but not really. But what really clicked was when, Nelson, who's my crypto NFT sensei, through our conversations, I realized that NFTs can unlock wearables. NFTs can, token gate. We can token gate rooms and create special moments inside the metaverse, and so forth. So the utility part really, really clicked with me, and that's when all the moving parts with music, fashion, and tech just all fell into place. And I was like, wow, this so that's when there was like a eureka moment, the aha moment. I was like, Web3, let's go. And like, I was like, we have to do this with fashion. And I had all these ideas. I was bombing Nelson like every single day. I know he was really annoyed, but he was like super patient, taking on all the ideas and trying to ideate. A lot of my friends from Japan as well, who's in the tech space, really, really helped out. And of course, Jason, whom I've known through the 88 Rising, the music side as well, like that he was really into this space. So just everything clicked, just everything came into place, and now here we are.
It's really interesting to hear you talk about your journey, because it makes perfect sense why you would be involved in Web3. I mean, it's a space that is just so multidisciplinary. And obviously, if you listen, as I listened to you describe your career and how it evolved, seems like you were never really content expressing creativity just in that one modality, right? It's not just about music; it's also about jewelry and fashion and now art, and it's every canvas is up for grabs. And blockchain and crypto are a lot like that, because it's a little bit of everything, right? You have to have a brain that's curious, and you have to be able to stretch in a lot of different directions. So, welcome. You have found your people, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And like I'm so into it to a point where like I'm like like a evangelist around me, because in Japan it's a little bit slow still, because a lot of this movement happens in the US or maybe Europe. Shout out to everyone in Hong Kong and like China side who's like super like advanced. So around me there's a lot of people who's hungry to learn, and it's really fun talking to them here because I'm based in Tokyo. So yeah, I'm just super excited.
Awesome. I mean, it's really great to learn a little bit about just your your start to where you are now. It's funny. It reminds me a lot of things in my life with I think some people can relate to, right? It's just you kind of start something and then all of a sudden it becomes, something a lot larger. But wanted to ask some questions around this upcoming drop. And I think one thing that it interested me and some other people too were just why a lighter case and why red? Like, what was the inspiration for the piece and what did that kind of creative process look like to come to where we're at now?
Sure. Before I jump into that, I just want to shout out Avalanche and like Open just for making this happen. And this conversation accelerated when I was talking to Jma at NFT NYC, and we've been always talking about the different chains. Of course, the Ambush POW project started with Ethereum, but we're always thinking about different possibilities on other chains. And Jason Nelson was telling me about, oh, how about Avalanche? And, I was reading about the subnets and really, really getting interested, but I was just kind of like surface, listening to different podcasts and talking to people. And when this culture catalyst conversation came about, like I think you guys were mentioning at the very beginning, it's about pushing the culture forward. And, I just thought, hey, with us doing, fashion, music, why don't we just bring it together? And that's what we've been doing with the POW holders as well, inviting them to IRL events, just kind of integrating with NFT NYC, Coachella, and so forth. So just the first thing that came to our mind, me and Yun, was to do like a jewelry piece because that's where we started. And the lighter case was kind of inspired off of the AVAX red, I guess, the Avalanche, the red color. That was really impressionable. So I was like, lighter case, like fire, And then I, I don't mean to toot our own horn, but our lighter case has been copied many times over from high brands, and we're proud to say that we made a trend there. So I thought it's fitting that we would bring this element back because I thought people would appreciate this. And for us to do it in a colorway we've never done it before, which is chrome red, it's really, really cool. Just the samples came up a couple of days ago. I think some of you guys have seen it. So I'm really excited for that to, start going into production. But yeah, so the necklace component came from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's exciting to see the red. Even looking through just some of the website and your previous work, I've never seen anything quite like it that looks like that. So it's really cool to see kind of that first experience being with the Avalanche red. It's a cool design.
It's interesting to hear you talk about the red too, because when I first joined the team about a year ago, I was like, all right, what are we working with here? And it's a pretty stark palette. It's like, okay, red and white. All right, how do you flex that from a design standpoint without either just looking like Barbara Kruger every day, which is cool, but either that or you end up with like, if you have a lot of reds and whites and blacks, it starts to look a bit fascist. So, it took me a minute to get used to the red, but I kind of realized at some point too, like you did, that this is really striking, and it's very unambiguous, and I love that about it. So I've actually learned to appreciate it, and it sounds like you were thinking about it in the same way.
Yeah, and just to kind of throw this in there as well, I have a music studio in Shibuya in Tokyo, and it's red and white. It's like it's based off of 2001 Space Odyssey. I know some of you guys have dropped by, but it's like the hallway is all red, and like red and white, and it's kind of spacey. So yeah, red is definitely my favorite color, and yeah, it all kind of made sense here with the product too.
Awesome. And one thing I had heard you mention previously was the concept of utility and how that excited you. So would love to just talk about the utility for this piece, the show, and just kind of that whole experience about how those shows have started, what they traditionally look like. I think the audience would really love to hear that.
Sure. Are you talking about for the utility for A3?
Yeah, and the upcoming show in Italy.
Yeah. So this time it's not going to be a fashion show, but a party which has been going on starting in Tokyo, Berlin, and then the last stop's going to be in Milan. And as we were discussing this, we just thought that it'll make sense for us to integrate into the Milan Fashion Week, and because this event party is going to incorporate music, it's going to be super fun, and I thought it's very fitting. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen my Instagram or Yoon's Instagram, where we posted about the Tokyo party. Um, it was in celebration of our collaboration with Nike for the Nike Air Adjust launch. So it's called the Nike Night Sport, and the event details were not announced till very, very last minute. We had DJs from all over the world gathered. We had Tremaine Emery from Supreme come through. We had like a whole slew of guests. It was super packed. It was like 1,000 capacity club. Then we had lines wrapped around the block, so that was crazy. Berlin, crazy. So the next stop's in Milan, and it's gonna be super fun because it's during Milan Fashion Week, September 23rd. So we thought that it would be fun to be able to invite the A3 holders there. And it's always been my fashion to kind of use this Web3 narrative to kind of, cut right in and create a bridge between fashion and Web3. Meaning, I always wanted to invite people to fashion shows, or events that's related to fashion, because usually even people in the music industry going into fashion, it's something more recent. It hasn't really happened before, until Kanye started, going into like, different fashion shows and stuff. It's more commonplace now, but with, let's say, people in the Web3 space, tech space, it's seldom that they get to go into a fashion show or like a fashion related event. So I just thought that as a holder, if you could just go into this place, and have access, it'll be fun for the people who are holders as well as people who are hosting the event, because we'll have like a fresh, uh, lineup of people coming through that we would never meet otherwise. So that's always been something in the back of my mind. So I'm so happy to be able to do this with the A3 drop.
Did you have? I
So
didn't
cool,
know.
so cool.
Yeah, Jason, did you have a question? I saw your microphone start to move. I didn't want to talk over you there.
No, I mean, I think verbal, you've done, I think maybe it'd be great to let the Avalanche community know your foray into Web3. This is not your first NFT drop sold out in less than 4 minutes. We talked about this at the Digital Garage Web3 conference in Tokyo, and I always just found it fascinating that someone like yourself, that's just always been cutting edge, at the leading edge, whether it was virtual reality, whether it was AI, whether it was on the music side, fashion side, you've always just been a forerunner. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about the first ambush drop that you did almost a year ago now, which is crazy, and how that experience was for you? And then how does that kind of connect to what we're doing now with A3?
Yeah, sure. I think the conversation started about a year ago, but and then we launched this year. But yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. So as I mentioned earlier, because this convergence of music, fashion, and tech just kind of all kind of fell into place, I was excited to launch with my brand Ambush, because I was kind of envisioning, creating like digital wearables and creating a metaverse where people can meet up from all over the world. Because around the time when we were ideating this is still when, the world was kind of closed and people couldn't really travel. So that kind of, yeah, accelerated these conversations and made it kind of, fun to kind of conceptualize. So, as we did with the first Ambush launch back in 2008, I thought it'll be fun to kind of give seed people. So the very first drop, we were discussing with Nelson, we were airdropping our first POW Energons to people in fashion, music, and of course in the Web3 space, consulting Nelson. And that was late January. And in February, thanks, Jason, for mentioning, we launched our first NFT project, which is the POW Reboot. And it was the design based on first Ambush jewelry. And what I wanted to do was show the fashion space. Of course, people who are already familiar with buying NFTs, maybe it was like a gradual run. But for the fashion people, I wanted to kind of teach them step by step. So first, it's an NFT mint, and February. And then next up was our metaverse launch and second mint of Ambush POW Glow in the Dark, which you had to have the POW Reboot NFT in order to go into this metaverse, to go and then clear like a token gated game in order to mint this next NFT. So that was our next thing. And after that, we had the Coachella activation where we were live streaming from Coachella 88 Rising VIP stage, and our holders were able to go into the space. So yeah, it's been a fun journey for us coming from a Web2 fashion brand. We're doing everything we can to try to create activities. I know everyone's like hungry for more, so we're working nonstop to come up with dope events and ideations. But yeah, that's how we got into this whole space, because I wanted to kind of eventually walk people through the whole process of how NFT project can evolve into a metaverse space, and then eventually into creating wearables digitally, because I think people are still trying to figure out what the digital fashion is, and I want to be able to kind of make a suggestion through the different technology and capabilities. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. And go ahead.
I was gonna ask a question. I mean, I want to get into like digital fashion, and first of all, just props, man. Like, I just remember us having that presentation in Tokyo, and you're like literally showing like 500 of these like top Japanese VCs and corporate executives like Silver Factory, and this is like you're literally running around this metaverse checking out like Murakami to an 88 Rising like merch, connected digital NFT, and you could just see their eyes like, what? Like, this is real? Like, this is, and I think truly you are one of the first in Web3 to actually build a real metaverse project that actually works. And we know we're very early in this whole metaverse conversation. I'm one of the believers that, we're still years out before we see true functionality, a AAA game, how NFTs connect with just gamification and the metaverse. And we know there's like billions being poured in by Meta. How do you view long-term digital fashion with NFTs? What do you think every piece of fashion wearable will be an NFT? Is it a physical, digital, connected product? Like, how do you see this going?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'm still trying to figure it out, but the more time I spend in this space trying different tech and ways of expressing yourself in the virtual world, the more I learn. So yesterday actually, it's funny you mentioned SK from All Rights Reserved, who's an art gallery owner and also very successful NFT launch for Joanne Cornelia and Yusuke Hanai, who are contemporary artists who segued very well into the NFT space, was telling me about his new metaverse, and he was showing me what he's working on, and we were just kind of going back and forth, powwowing about what's cool and what people would find interesting. And I think it's about generating emotions and creating moments and memories. So we're talking about like, what if we have like a bar in the metaverse, and there's like a beer on a counter, and you can't drink it, but it's a moment, and it's kind of hard to explain in spaces here. But when we're looking at each other's new projects and the metaverse that we're building out, it was fun. So it wasn't necessarily fashion per se, but it was like everything surrounding it. So when you go to fashion week or like parties, there's drinks, there's people you meet, and like there's little things that the furnitures or something, and I think in the digital fashion space as well, people are trying to figure out what kind of aesthetics will be interesting. So it's not necessarily the visual. It's not going to be like one visual that's going to appease the appetite of the audiences, but there are many choices, and then the adventures that they will have inside the metaverse. So for me, the latest passion of mine is volumetric scanning. So I dragged Nelson into a studio in LA recently to get myself scanned and kind of ideate on how we could do this. And right now, I'm trying to see how we can create photorealistic avatars of ourselves inside the metaverse, and how we can apply fashion there. So including fictitious kind of like a CGI avatars. I'm also trying to play around with like photorealistic avatars inside the metaverse, and see how that's gonna work. So yeah, I'm just experimenting every day to see like what would be fun. Just talking to people who are into Web3 technology as well as people who are not, so that we can bridge fashion and Web3.
Awesome.
It's so cool to hear you talk, because you talk about how you want to use this as a space to try different things and almost set the tone. And it just made me think what a great fit you are for the program. That's why we call it Culture Catalyst, because that's what you're doing. You're actually catalyzing culture on the blockchain by bringing these various things together. And it's really cool to see this working in real life. And we're really lucky to have you as part of the program. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, very lucky, and also super, super grateful for the time. I know we are kind of running up to the end of time here, so I want to be conscious of that and conscious of everyone's time. And thank you, Verbal, Jason, Devin, Nelson, everyone for attending this. Want to provide some details on the upcoming mint. So if anyone has direct kind of questions about what's happening, there's the article that's linked up top in the nest here about the ambush announcement. Just to provide some quick details for you. The mint's going to be going live on the 12th of this month. If you are a PAL reboot holder, the pre-sale opens at 9 a.m. and goes till 6, and then the general sales at 6 p.m. This is all Pacific time as well. So super excited for that to go down. I know I'm going to be grabbing one. And yeah, just really, really excited for this to take place. It's been a little bit of work for us, but we're finally here. So it's great to see a plan come to fruition.
Yeah, if I can just say something, I'm just super excited. And again, it's been such a pleasure to work with the whole Avalanche team, Dom, Devin, all of you. Like, it's just been absolutely amazing. And J-Ma, again, man, this is the beginning of what we're going to be doing with the Culture Catalyst. And Verbal, as always, bro, always great to hear you speak. But to have someone in your position in fashion and music be such an advocate for blockchain in general, and a person that's kind of like taking leaps and bounds and working across the whole ecosystem, just kudos to you.
Yeah, and just last but not least, everybody, a3.open.world. So a3.op3n.world. Check it out. Join the community. Get ready for the drop on the 12th. It's going to get lit, and we're excited. We'll see everybody in Milan.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Amazing. Verbal,
See.
thank you so much for joining us. I know we want to wrap things up, but any final words for the community from yourself that you want to share with us?
Yeah, so like I was mentioning earlier, there's some things that we can announce and can't announce, not because we're hiding it, but regarding details of the Milan event, from my past experience, everything's like last minute. So people who will, the winners of the people who can join this event will get the details in the coming days. So please keep a lookout. And like Jason was saying, please check out the site, join the community. We'll keep you guys posted. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to be able to, do this for the Web3 community in fashion.
Let's go.
Amazing. Let's do it. So if you guys want to keep track of what's going on, make sure to follow Verbal, follow Open. That's OP3N World _. Follow us here at Avalanche. Follow Ambush Design. We'll be dropping more details as we go along, but thank you to all the speakers and the guests here for joining us, and for all of the community here for jumping in. If you have questions, there's lots of info on Twitter, so make sure to follow along, and we're really excited for what's to come.
Spread the word.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.